Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In the last episode, I don't even remember what we did, but I believe we wrapped up a lot of the kind of side questy stuff that we needed to do before we went back in time for the second time. So actually, speaking of time, I need to go ahead and play the inverted Song of Time, because when you go back in time using the Song of Time, if you have the inverted Song of Time equipped, so to speak, it will go away. So you need to play it again to slow the current flow of time. And by the way, I never actually knew you can sort of skip that little cutscene right there where the clocks go in and out. So if you ever wanted to save a couple of seconds, that might be what you want to do. But yeah, in the last episode, we kind of wrapped up a lot of the like heart pieces and stuff that we could get. And what else did we do? We got a mask, we got the bunny hood, which I'm actually wearing right now. In this episode, I would like to start off by coming over here and getting the silver rupee that is in this treasure chest right here, which I do believe I've shown off before, but if not, there is a silver rupee in here. And by the way, the Japanese version, I've been playing the Japanese version a little bit lately, and this treasure chest is like, it is the most inconsequential thing that you could even imagine, but it's like situated back here, really close to this wall. I always wondered why they would even bother putting the treasure chest in like a different spot. And by the way, if you jump off at the right angle right there, you will go through the floor much like if you jump off the chains and jumped into that little loading zone where Hyrule Castle is in Ocarina of Time. But yeah, I'm not really sure why they would even bother moving that treasure chest just such a small distance away from that wall. There's got to be a reason, or I have to imagine anyway, or they wouldn't have done it. But we need to come over here and teach the Scarecrow another song. Like I think I said when we first taught the Scarecrow the song in the second cycle, I couldn't remember if you had to reteach him the song every time you reset time, but you do have to. And that only makes sense, because we're going back before we ever taught him. You know, we're going back in time, I should say, back before we even taught him that song. And I think I just taught him a different song than I taught him the first time I ever taught him a song, but it doesn't really matter. It's just got to be something that is easier to remember. But also in the last episode, we got our Powder Keg certification. And if we turn into a Goron and we have at least 50 rupees, we can talk to this guy right here, and we can buy a Powder Keg. If you don't have the Powder Keg certification, you can't buy a Powder Keg, of course, from this guy. So that's why I went ahead and did that in the last episode, because we're going to need that Powder Keg fairly shortly. But before we leave, I kind of want to show you guys this really cool paper on the wall. It's kind of hard to... Yeah, it's not like you can actually read it if you just look at it, but if you if you check the piece of paper here, it will say planned moon trip using bomb-powered flight. I always thought that was a really cool thing to have on the wall there. And first of all, it's kind of weird that that would be in the bomb shop. I don't think a bomb shop is going to be like the front runner for, you know, space flight in Termina or anything. But I thought it was kind of cool how they, you know, this town, Termina, was even thinking about going to the moon. I guess since it's so close to Termina at this point, it's not that big of a deal. You could probably, like, set up a ladder to go up there on the third day. It's so close. But anyway, we need to go ahead and teleport to Snowhead, because I need to take out Goat for a second time. I will meet you guys in the, basically, whoa, I was gonna say, what is that? I didn't know that was gonna be up there. But I will meet you guys right in the entrance to Snowhead Temple, and I want to explain something up there to you guys. Alright guys, here we are right in front of the entrance to Snowhead Temple. I just decided to cut all that out because we've seen that cutscene before, and I just thought it would be a better idea just to kind of cut up to the, you know, instance where I am up here. But as soon as we walk in the Snowhead Temple, after we've already beaten the boss and gone back in time, apparently Goat says, "Ye who hold my remains, return to the appointed place to face me." So if, like I said, I think I mentioned this briefly, or I might have mentioned it, if you have the remains of a boss, and you go back in time and you come back to the temple, you don't have to go through the entire temple again. You can just walk into this little teleporter thing on the ground. I'm not even sure what you would call it. It's kind of like a little pedestal thing, and it will warp you to the boss fight. So that's a really good thing to use if you need to go back and beat a boss, which we do need to in this case, because we need it to be springtime once again. But since I have already done this boss fight, I will meet you guys back outside of Snowhead after it is springtime once again. And here we are back in the Mountain Village area after I beat Goat. Now, beating Goat that time, it took me a long time. As you can see down there, it is like almost exactly 9 o'clock. So that took a lot of in-game time and kind of a little bit of real time as well. It took a lot longer than the first time I beat him, like in the episode where we actually beat the Snowhead Temple. Sometimes he'll be just really annoying. I cannot believe I just flew off like that. But sometimes Goat will just do these attack patterns where it's like impossible to dodge the rocks and everything that he throws out at you. I was gonna try the sword or the arrow technique that I talked about in that one episode, but I only had like 10 arrows, so it wasn't really worth it. But we did buy this powder keg and clock town. Might as well go ahead and set it right here because we need to get back into the racing area. And even though the fuse is a lot shorter than it was when we actually had to carry it over here, I might as well still go ahead and shoot it because otherwise we're still gonna have to wait for the fuse to run out, even though, like I said, it's not as long as it was that we had to wait that one time. But anyway, now that we have a lot of time, it's still day one, you know, really early in day one at that, we need to come in here and do the races. Now, the racing at the Goron racetrack is probably one of the most annoying things that I have ever done in a game, because you'll see, like, when I start here, that it is a really bad rubber banding AI system. It's one of the worst I think I've ever seen in my life. If you are a little tiny bit ahead of everybody else, and by the way, we can just run around here at the beginning, it doesn't really even matter, we can even false start, which doesn't matter either, because, like I said, the rubber banding AI is so bad. If you're not sure what rubber banding AI is, basically if you're ahead, the guys behind you will go faster. If you're behind everybody else, everybody in front of you will go slower. So it's almost like not even skill-based, it's just so random, because they speed up so much, you know, if you're a little bit ahead of them. So hopefully I can get it on the first try. I really doubt I'll be able to. It's probably going to take me quite a few tries, and if possible, I'd really love to get back to Clocktown right around 10 o'clock in-game time, because there's something that we need to do there, and I'll explain why I want to be there around then if I actually get to Clocktown around 10 o'clock. I guess it would be better to explain if I don't, because I'll tell you what happens. Good thing, though, that we have, first of all, we have an extended magic meter, which actually that's really the only advantage we have, so we don't have to go for the magic pots quite as often. But as you can see, if you get hit a couple of times, they will knock you out of your spike form, which of course your spike form is a lot faster than just your rolling around form. And even though we're Romani, like war hero of the Goron village, everybody else is faster than us for some reason. So that's why I really don't like this. And in the Majora's Mask Player's Guide, it says on this path right here, I probably would have won if not for that. But it says on this little stretch of the race right here, if you stay on the inside, you'll almost always win. That is actually the only way I've found that you will have a chance of winning. So I guess because I got a little too close to the wall right there, that I'm gonna have to try again. Luckily, you don't actually have to pay for this minigame, or it'd be even more annoying. But I will keep trying this until I get it. I'm not even sure when I'm gonna get it. I kind of doubt that I'll even get it on this try. But in any case, I will meet you guys when I'm done. I guess it didn't take as many times as I thought it was going to take to win that, but that second race, I'm going to edit that in there, of course, but I cannot believe that it rubber banded me so hard there. But in any case, we won the gold dust. That's really all we wanted. I think I explained the gold dust sort of thing in the maybe last episode, I don't even remember, but I guess you guys can see why I didn't want to do the races if I didn't have to, because those races are, like I said, one of the most annoying things I think in the entire game. But because I actually don't even know what time it is in game time right now. Hopefully it is a little bit after 10 o'clock, but not quite 11 o'clock, because there is a trigger that we need to do around 10 o'clock. And if you wait until 11 o'clock, around there, you're going to have to wait. I guess it's a little too late right now. It's about 11 o'clock. If you wait too long, you're going to have to wait till about 11:45, which doesn't sound like a big deal. I'll probably just take off the inverted Song of Time until it's time to do the trigger. This might not make much sense until we actually get there and I explain what is going on. But here is the mayor's office, I believe it's called. Mayor's residence, I guess. We need to come in here because we can get another mask, basically. And this mask is the beginning of the biggest side quest in the entire game. And if possible, I would love to be able to do the entire thing in this one cycle. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that or not, but I will see what I can do. Now, as you can see, it is 11:15 in-game time right now. This guy right here, the Gorman brother, will not leave until about 11:45, so we've got to wait here until he leaves. I might as well go ahead and talk to him, though, because if we talk to this group right here, we can add all of them to our Bomber's Notebook at once. But after that, I'm probably going to speed it up until 11:45, because I have to talk to this lady alone, if you will. So I will go ahead and show you guys this cutscene right here, and then we will get going with the next little mini-game, or not mini-game, side quest, I guess you could say. Madam Aroma, I am Gorman. It has been some time. Thank you for letting us perform at this year's Carnival of Time. Oh dear me, Gorman, there's a problem. Meaning? The opening performance I've asked you to do. Yes. They've canceled, just now. What's this? Allow me to explain. Oh, excuse me. I am to work at this year's show, or that was the plan. I am Toto, manager of the Zora band, the Indiegogo's. He arrived this morning. Actually, there's been an unusual accident in Great Bay. And due to this unusual accident, Lulu, the diva in the Indiegogo's, has lost her voice. Why? Why? The details are quite long, so I'll spare you. At any rate, I must cancel our performance at this year's Carnival of Time. Then this means the Gorman troops' job is... it's off. But that's all, Gorman. There's always next year. I'm busy with other matters. So we get Gorman, the leader of the traveling troupe. He's been added to our notebook. Toto, the band manager, has been added to our notebook. And Madam Aroma, the mayor's wife, has been added to our notebook. We're going to be helping all of these guys, or, you know, 2 guys and a lady. I guess you can call her lady. We're going to be helping all 3 of these people before the end of the game. So I will meet you guys at 11:45. Actually, it's probably not even entirely necessary to speed this up. If I take off the inverted Song of Time, the flow of time, of course, will speed back up. But like I said, we do need it to be 11:45 because we have to have that Gorman brother right there leave the room because we need to talk to Madam Aroma and help her with her individual problem. So, yeah, I was going to say, it's going pretty fast now. I don't really need to speed this up, I guess. At 11:45, though, he should leave, and right on cue, he has left. Or he is leaving, I guess. As soon as he starts walking away, we can talk to Madam Aroma here and get the next side quest underway. Oh dear, are you on a field trip? Or are you the expert person finder I hired? Yes, yes, yes. I say, you have the face of a pro. The characteristics of the person I want you to find. Yes, yes, I know them. The person I want you to locate is my son, Cafe. You know him, don't you? You don't? Really? He disappeared about a month ago. It's terrible. I'm so very worried. I can't get food down my throat and I've lost 5 pounds. You haven't anything, though? Oh, dear. Well, could you look for him, of course? Oh my, of course. You are an expert. Well, I'm counting on you. And to help us locate her missing person, she gave us a mask of the missing person, which was always really, really weird to me, but we get Cafe's mask. And I'm not sure if Cafe is the way to pronounce it. That's the way I've always pronounced it, so that's probably how I'm going to continue to say it. But before we progress out and back into Clocktown, I want to go ahead and read this diary or journal back here in this room. Cafe's diary. The wedding ceremony is soon. It might be early, but I finished my wedding mask. I wonder if Andrew has made hers. She tends to do things at the last minute, so probably not. There is a gathering of the fellows at the milk bar tonight. I plan to show off my wedding mask and talk about my sweetheart as best I can. So, Cafe was set to be married to Andrew, which I'm not sure if I really ever explained who Andrew is, but she was the innkeeper, or whatever you want to say, the manager, I guess, of the hotel that we had to break into what did we even do in the hotel? I think we gave that piece of paper to the hand in the toilet. And one thing I really like about Majora's Mask, this kind of reminded me right here, I love the way that each individual character has their own path, you know, that they follow, like, every day or whatever. So this guy just left that, you know, the mayor's residence or whatever. He didn't just disappear, he's actually walking to the milk bar. So we actually heard about this in the Journal of Cafes, so we're gonna have to deal with this place later on. The only problem is, we can get in right now. Later on at night, when we actually do need to come in here, they're basically going to say that it is too... Basically, kids are not allowed in there, so we're not going to be able to go in there until we get a mask that is connected to the next little side quest that I want to do. So, when we... Oh, by the way, I forgot to buy another powder keg, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cancel this teleportation thing right here. But to do the next little part of the game, and this is actually a mandatory part of the game, unlike talking to Madame Cafe, or Madame Aroma, and the Gorman brothers, those aren't actually required to be in the game. The next part I'm about to do is actually required, and also, by the way, getting the gold dust with that powder keg is not required either. But we do need to get another powder keg, so if you only wanted to buy 1 powder keg, actually, I think I said in the last episode that 2 powder kegs are required, so you have to buy 2. instead of 3, I guess you would if you wanted to open up the racetrack. But anyway, rambling aside, we need to go ahead and buy yet another powder keg from this guy, and we just so happen to have 50 rupees, which we still have left over from that silver rupee that we got at the beginning of the episode. But now that we have the powder keg, we can go ahead and use the Song of Soaring like I was going to a second ago, and warp to the, I don't remember actually the name of the area, the Milk Road I believe it's called. We'll see it on the map here when it comes up. In any case, Milk Road is the area that we need to go to, and we specifically opened up the owl statue in the last episode so that we can teleport here, even though we could just roll there as a Goron and walk over there if we really needed to. But I did sort of explain the boulder thing in the last episode, so we can actually see the entirety of the little boulder side questing. Not that it's really a side quest or anything, but this guy has been chiseling away at this boulder for who knows how long, and we need to get by here to get into the Romani Ranch. And on day 3, we saw that this boulder was not here. So we need to actually get rid of this boulder to get into Romani Ranch on day 1. And if we talk to him, he says that someone was up to no good mischief and blocked the road to Romani Ranch. He'll remove it quickly. Actually, it'll take him 2 more days. But the person that put that there was the Skull Kid, and I believe if we talk to him right here, he'll say something else. What? I thought I could break it. You can, but it's going to take you a while, so I'm going to help you out a little bit. We're going to wait for the fuse to run down on this one, just because it's a little more epic, I guess. And there goes the rock. It broke up into a lot of little mini boulders. I guess that's the assets they had for that. And if we talk to him after the rock is gone, he will say, hey, as long as it's open to traffic, it's fine. So after all that work he put into that, we just came up with a powder keg and blew it up. So I always thought that was kind of funny. Now here we are back in Romani Ranch on day 1. It's a little bit later than I was hoping it was going to be when I got here. It's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon on day 1. But anyway, if we walk over here, we're going to trigger a cutscene that we have already seen. We saw this in the last episode. So I'm not really sure why they decided to let this play another time, because of course this is already played. We've already seen this cutscene, and this cutscene involves Link and Tattle. So you would think that since we know we went back in time, we would have already known that Epona was over here. But anyway, we need to get Epona out of this cage, or whatever you want to call it. To do that, we need to come over here and talk to Romani. And by the way, I remembered that the Hyrulean counterpart of Romani is Malin. I don't remember how I forgot that in the last episode, but she even has the Bowser. Whoa, she got really close to me right there. But if she would stop running, I can show you. There we go. She has the Bowser pendant, or whatever you want to call that, on, so it's exactly the same asset or character model that was in Ocarina of Time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and see what she has to say. Hey, who are you? I'm Romani. I was given the same name as the ranch. What's your name? Kyle. That's a nice name, but how about Grasshopper? That's the name Romani gives you. See, you're wearing green clothes and you patter about when you walk, so Grasshopper it is. Romani was practicing for tonight. Tonight. They are coming. They come at night every year when the carnival approaches. They come riding in a bright shining ball. A whole lot of them come down. And then they come to the barn. My older sister won't believe me, but Romani must protect the cows. Hey, Grasshopper, I'm recruiting for an assistant right now. You're a boy, won't you try? Of course, I will. We've already gone through this. Great, now that's the spirit, Grasshopper. Okay then, I'm going straight into my strategy. They'll appear all over the ranch. They'll aim for that barn and approach it slowly, so hit them with arrows so that they can't get in. You got that? And you mustn't leave the ranch. Grasshopper, let's practice right away. There are 10 ghost-shaped balloons in the range, so hurry and burst them all. If you take over 2 minutes, you're out. The current record is 1 minute. Are you ready? So now we're going to play a little bit of a mini-game, and the whole premise behind this is that we're practicing for the alien invasion of Romani Ranch. So I can't believe that this is part of the game, and we have to take out all 10 of these ghost-shaped balloons. I cannot believe I hit that one right there. I like to try and stay as close to the middle of the ranch as possible. I can't believe I'm not hitting this. But yeah, if you stay as close to the middle of the ranch as you can, you will pretty much be able to cover pretty much the entire range. But on the day when the aliens actually invade, which is 2:30 on day 2, which is why we have to come here on day 1, so we can take this training and stuff and learn Epona song, which we're going to learn in just a few minutes. We have to do this training, or on the day when it actually happens, not the actual training part. During the actual invasion, they will spawn pretty much constantly throughout the ranch, and we have to take them out until 5:30 or 5:15 in the morning or something like that. So we've got to be pretty good with our aiming, which is the whole point of this practice mini game, I guess. So I'm not even sure how long that took, but that felt pretty good to me. 4882, I guess. That's a new record, so that's good, I guess. You two work perfectly together. I'll teach Romani's horse calling song to you, Grasshopper. Now you two keep getting along and go practice some more. When your arrow hits these, they burst into nothing, but the real ones will keep popping up. If they get in the barn, we lose. They run away at first light of the sun, so we'll have to keep fending them off until then. Did I get that? Yes. The operation starts tonight at 2. I'll be waiting in the barn. Don't be late. So now we have Romani added to our notebook, and we have to be back here around 2 or 2:30 in the morning, and we have to protect the ranch until sunrise, and we cannot let one alien touch this barn right here. So I always thought that the alien was or this alien invasion that we're gonna have to worry about is one of the hardest things in the entire game, skill-based. Now the Goron races or whatever are still probably the hardest thing in the game to me, but that is an entire crapshoot that I feel like I have no control over. But anyway, now that we have Epona on, actually it doesn't matter what day you get her on, but you can only get her on day 1 as far as I remember. Now that we have Epona, we can get to the 3rd area in the game, which is off to the west, and we were only able to go to the east and the south before, but now, and by the way, I should probably explain, I never even came over here to show you guys, but the reason we could never come over here before is because there is a barrier that we cannot get over. But now that we have Epona, we can just jump right over the barrier and get to the Great Bay area. Now, the thing is, you can actually bomb hover over that barrier, but we don't have any bombs right now, or I would show you. It's not a hard trick, but I would love to get a little bit more practice before I attempt to show you. But I would really love to show you guys eventually, because it's one of the coolest things that I think I've seen. Bomb hovering in this game is one of the coolest glitches I think I've seen in any game anyway. But in the next episode, actually in this episode, might as well go ahead and save before I'm not going to watch, there's a cutscene that we could initiate right now, and it's one of the coolest cutscenes I think that is in the game. Before we end this episode, I'm going to swim out to the observatory type thing over here and save. And in the next episode, we will get going with the rest of the plot. But one thing I want to point out before we end this episode is that this little thing that I'm swimming over to, this little platform in the water, in the Japanese version, it was a lot higher. And you could not get up to this platform without doing the cutscene. That is, when I get up here, I'll show you where it is, or where you can initiate it. If we help, there's a guy over there, a Zora to be specific, in the water that we have to help. And we cannot get up, or in the Japanese version, you cannot get up on this platform without helping that guy. And in the English version, they made this platform a lot lower because apparently people complained, or they thought it would be too easy, or too hard, I should say. The Japanese version, they said, was a lot harder than the English version should be. But anyway, I want to go ahead and end this episode right here, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I hope to see you guys back for the next episode.